Hi there, I'm Retro RITF, this is Izzy.
And today we're reviewing Daytona USA for the Sega Saturn.
So Daytona USA was an arcade smash hit when it was released in 1994, though there was a limited release in 1993, and it soon became a smash hit for Sega, becoming one of the highest grossing arcade titles of all time. And of course, quite a stir was announced to be coming home to the Sega Saturn. So was the home conversion up to scratch? This video is going to find out.
Well, it certainly wasn't arcade perfect. Graphically, the game does suffer, as it often runs at less than 30 frames per second, and there is a small draw distance. But, if we're being honest, the game still looks great. I will admit that seeing these black borders that are apparently PAL region only is kinda irritating, but if you're noticing things like that, you aren't enjoying yourself enough. And that's almost impossible with Daytona USA.
I guess that's because it was an early Saturn game, but there we go. The gameplay itself is somewhat sort of swings and roundabouts. There are only two gameplay modes, arcade and Saturn. On the arcade mode you pick from 2 transmissions and 3 tracks, beginner, advanced and expert. On the Saturn mode you pick from 3 tracks, beginner, advanced and expert. You do have 2 cars to choose from, that's about it. Oh, and you don't have a time limit on Saturn mode. That's all. It seems to be a common problem with 90s arcade racer titles such as Sega Rally and Ridge Racer from Namco on the PS1, and they both have a similar sort of problem, almost like they forgot they could add more content with CD-ROMs.
But all there is, you'll be playing a lot. It's Daytona USA, it's addictive, it's fast and furious. The controls are nice and concise. C accelerates, B brakes, L and R change camera, left and right steer, up and down change gear. But the best part is how the car handles. I tend to notice it best when I'm driving on the beginner track, but this car is fantastically responsive. Going through some of the faster corners makes you feel like you're really making the turn and feels amazingly realistic. Drifting, similar to Ridge Racer, plays a key part, and I'll admit that it kind of annoys me how drift happy the car can be. But that's a complaint from someone who plays simulation games, so take it with a pinch of salt, not that it's a major problem.
I've also got to say, in the sound department, the game is pretty good. Okay, so I will admit the music is super cheesy, but Sega make it work. Whether you're singing to or you're making a the pace of the music goes well with the fast-paced racing action, and you will find yourself singing along or humming it on your daily commute to work, guaranteed. Let's just take a listen to some of my favourite parts.
The Saturn mode can be made more worthwhile by unlocking more playable cars and even a horse, which is always kind of funny, either with a cheat code or a cheat cartridge that Liam reviewed in episode 10, or by just playing the game a lot.
Overall though, is Daytona USA worth getting? Well, if you're a Saturn collector, you probably already have this, let's be honest. So for those of you who don't own this and want a verdict, then you're in luck, as I have a new rating system, going from Timeless Classic as the very best, then Must Have just below that, followed by Hidden Gem, then Average, Mediocre, followed by Hardcore Collectors Only, and finally, the ultimate in gaming horror, the Atomic Turd Burger, right at the bottom, reserved for the worst games of all time. So, if I've got to be honest, I think the final verdict is probably Must Have. I think it just falls short of being Timeless Classic because it's on the Saturn and it didn't sell too well. There are graphical issues, as you pointed out. If we were talking about the actual arcade version, the original, Timeless Classic all the way. I mean, it's obviously, as I say, one of the best arcade games of all time. So, I guess that's my final verdict. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I guess this is us ready to sign off. I've also, the vote is finally in. Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 is what I shall be reviewing in the next video. It's what you guys voted for, so thank you to everyone that voted. Check out the Google+, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter. Yeah. It'll all be in the description, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But I was Liam. This is Boo from us. Goodbye.